This podcast contains language that human beings use, not a sanitized alien Earth type of synthetic human hybrid language. We say the words. This is basically, what you would find out at a frag swap or a conference or just hanging out with reefers. So we talk how we talk. If we say words that some people find offensive, we can't help that, and that's kind of a problem for you, I think. So don't get offended by that. But just be warned, if you're playing this at a Christian nursery school, you've got more problems than the language. Today, on a very special episode of Reef Beef, because they're all special, we're going to talk about Rich's travels, we're going to talk about Ben and clients, and we're going to talk about a bunch of little things that some people were asking us about. This episode of Reef Beef is sponsored by saltwateraquarium.com.
Powered by PolypLab.
And sponsored by Champion Lighting and Supply. This is
Reef Beef.
Hey, Ben, what's going on?
What's going on, Richard? We took a little hiatus because you had some travels, and that was awesome.
I did have some travels, and it was pretty awesome. And I just want to say to everybody listening, very weird things are happening in the world and in the America. And we're ignoring them to give everyone, including us, a break from thinking about them. But I think Ben and I both feel like we'd be remiss if we pretended it wasn't happening. So there you go. I felt the need to say that because
you thought on your travels, you thought you were going to come back and then that you were going to come back to a fixed nation.
I know, you let me down.
I tinkered a little bit while you were gone, but what can one man do?
What can one man do? Oh, we should look at my background there. Check that out.
That's super crazy because what I'm seeing is it looks like a under part of your reef, and you got two Orani tilefish with a cleaner shrimp just yoinking some sort of something out of their mouth.
Yeah. This was actually the night before last, and I caught them doing this. So I hit them with a flashlight, and it's exactly right. It's under the reef, and that went on for about 25 minutes.
Do you think they had some sort of parasite?
I don't know, man. I was gone for like almost 4 weeks, so I don't know what's happening in my tank anymore. But I thought that was cool enough, and I got footage that was decent enough that is now the background footage. It's always cool when a cleaning station is set up in a place you can see it in your tank. And there's two cleaner shrimp in there, and they
One's
just
being lazy.
Yeah, I think both are being cleaned at the moment, but I think one of the tilefish needed it more than the other. But
the other one's sitting there sort of impatiently looking at the other cleaner shrimp.
Yeah.
But the other cleaner shrimp was like, I don't know what you want, man.
Yeah. Usually the cleaning station is like on the other side of the reef and you can't see it. Yeah. But look at all the sponge there too. I got to do an under rock video of La Sponge.
Yeah, I love all that when a reef tank gets a few years old and it gets all that mature cryptic stuff going on.
Dude, there is so much of it in my tank. It's crazy pants. It's crazy pants. So I was gone for like 4 weeks. I was in Fiji. Didn't say hello to Walt Smith because we were there basically to get my daughter certified for scuba.
Oh.
And I had
some people just do a swimming pool, Richard.
Well, they did that too, but and then we went to Tonga, and then I came home. We had a 53-hour trip home because we got flights canceled. That sucked. And then a day and a half later, I flew to Panama. So I'm not going to talk too much about the Fiji and the Tonga trip. Because I haven't processed all the video from that, but I can tell you a little bit about the trip to Panama.
I can't hear that without thinking about Van Halen.
Panama, you're old, Ben.
Yes, unfortunately.
But I do want to talk a second about brain stuff. Because my brain's been getting better, but I did go and with the spectrum stuff that I'm finding out about with myself. I did have a hard time before about the week before we left. I got anxious. And then one day, like the first day of diving in Fiji, and this is another reason I didn't call Walt Smith. It was like, I just need to be alone, right? I
Yeah.
just need quiet. I can't have any responsibilities. But one day I was really anxious and I didn't go diving and I just stayed in the room and just laid there and
Huh.
did a lot of thinking and realized that my anxiety is probably really a spectrum kind of what they call a meltdown, but I don't really melt down. I just, well, I guess I do. There's all different kinds of versions of it. I don't scream. I just disassociate and close up.
Well, at
And
first I was gonna not question you, but at first you're like, "Oh, I was anxious before a giant trip," and I was like, "Well, Richard, everyone's gonna feel that." But when you say, and it's not like I'm a doctor, but when you say like you're in frickin' Fiji and you had to take a knee, like
yeah,
I don't think I would have.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So.
it's also part of respecting what I want and what I want to do, not
Uh-huh.
masking things. And so I was experimenting with that and it was like I'm feeling bad. I don't want to go out. And then I was in the hotel room and about half an hour later I was fine. And so I thought about that a whole lot and was like, okay, if I know what this is, if I know it's not just anxiety, I know that it's a spectrum kind of thing that triggers this, I can probably control it a little bit more because I understand it.
Well, is that not like meditation a little bit, where you just you see what you're feeling and then you try to move it?
Kind of. Maybe it is, but for me, knowing what the source of it is, really seems helpful.
It's not a chemical imbalance, maybe?
No, no, it really seems like spectrum reactions. I got
Okay.
overwhelmed by not knowing what was coming up in during the day. Our plans changed at the last minute. The place we were staying was loud and overwhelming at breakfast, and I got, so I was kind of like, I just don't want to. I just want to go to the room, and
Yeah.
so I went, I'm going to the room, and Libby was like, go to the room.
Yeah.
But then I felt like I got a clearer understanding of what was happening. And as the trip went on, I was able to kind of get it more. And when those things happen, it was like, oh, if I just accept what this is and I feel like I know what it is, it'll probably pass pretty quickly. And I just need to kind of breathe through it and get done. And that seemed really, really helpful. So, to the point where, we the trip from Fiji to Tonga is a little bit brutal, but not terrible, but it was fine with me. And then we had to take a boat and it was fine with me. And then I got sick. I was sick on the plane and sick for a couple of
Oh.
days in Tonga, like sick. And I didn't freak out or anything, which I used to do. And then on the way home, we got canceled. So it literally took us 53 hours of travel to get home,
Oof.
which would normally have freaked me out because it was like in the middle of the night and we had to go to a hotel and then we had to wake up at 3 a.m. and go back to the airport and do all the check-in again. But I didn't freak out at all. I was just like, okay. And, in different airports, I was like, okay, we're in the airport. And then it was the same thing when I went to Panama 2 days later, which I would have freaked out about. And everything was just easy. And there was all kinds of stress in Panama from getting dive stuff, which I can tell you about, but none of that freaked me out. So what am I trying to say? 7 years of therapy, brain drugs, and understanding that I'm on the spectrum has really seemed to pay off and relax me a whole lot more. And now I'm not feeling the need to mask to pretend like I want to go out and hang out with people or that I need to stay there all night. It's like, oh, if I go hang out with people, as soon as I'm done hanging out with people, I just jet.
Yeah.
Because what I want is more important than what I think the world wants me to want.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I have to give a shout out to Libby though, because if to have an understanding spouse. So like, because I was like playing a scenario in my head where you like like, oh, I got to go to the room. Why do you got to go to the room? You always do this, Richard. But I'm
right,
just a different spouse in an alternate universe.
right.
And then they get mad and then they go to the room and then like browbeating you and you're like, holy fuck, this is not what I need.
Yeah,
You know?
we don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, But she's definitely supportive and it's fantastic. And my niece was actually there, my daughter was there, and they were all like, go to the room. And I
Yeah.
went, I'm going to miss a dive. I'm going to miss a couple of dives. I went, I've dove.
You do what's good for you.
Yeah, everything's not about everything else. And
Yeah.
so yeah, no, I am very fortunate to have my bride who is very supportive of that. As long as she sees me working and trying, she's pretty happy with everything. If
Well,
she
the
thinks I'm
concern would be if you like totally withdrew and were gone
yeah,
for like more than a day, and it's like, holy
yeah,
crap.
or I stopped trying. So,
Yeah.
but I'm at that stage where it's getting better. So what am I trying to say? Get the help that you think you need. If you're just exhausted, remember when I was just exhausted all the time and had
Hmm.
no motivation? That's really indicative of, plus some other stuff, indicative of autistic burnout.
Hmm.
And when I found that out, it was like, oh, it wasn't just some weird brain chemistry. It wasn't just, um, depression. My brain is very tired, and that can take years to recover from. And knowing that is helping me recover better. So keep trying, come to the brain health channel in the Discord, talk to people, talk to me directly if you're in the community and if you need an ear, because it just takes time and thought and work.
Well, because the trick of it is that it seems like taboo. And then if you're feeling a certain way, if you don't have anyone to talk to, you're like, I feel like I need to talk to somebody, but I'm not sure who, like, I feel like I want to talk to who will listen to me or anything like that, or
Yeah.
understand where I'm coming from. So yeah,
Yeah.
talking to other people is important.
And I'll listen to a bit and then I'll say, go to therapy,
Yeah.
get a therapist, because there's something very different talking to a therapist. It's just a different thing. And I'm not a therapist, so I can't
Yeah.
help you that much. I can help you help
Like you can
yourself.
be a sympathetic ear, but then when it comes to like, hey, I love you, but I can't field these calls like every day because I'm not helping you do anything. You're
Yeah.
not helping
And I,
yourself do anything.
fuck, I don't know. What worked for me might not work for you. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing about a therapist is if you don't dig your therapist,
Go to a
ditch
different one.
them.
Yeah.
Ditch them and get a new one. They
Yeah.
work for you.
Yeah.
So there. So
Like
that's
our
enough of that.
politicians are supposed to, but don't.
Wait, we're not talking about
Therapy
Stop it,
and
Benjamin.
politicians.
Stop it.
I'm the
Uh
guy that starts talking about religion at the Christmas dinner table.
yeah.
SaltwaterAquarium.com is the place to go with your mom. You know, saltwateraquarium.com, they love moms. I mean, bring your whole family. If you need aquarium supplies, you bring your whole family to saltwateraquarium.com, and everyone can just, they have all sorts of discounts for signing up for a profile on there for your first order for, healthcare professionals. I believe they're still doing that, you know. They have 3 locations across the continental United States, and that's how they get your packages out to you quickly.
Now I'm looking at their page, and I was looking at the what's new, and they've got stuff that you can do from awards, free stuff and stuff. What you get if you spend. They've got a clearance section, which is great. Overscount, discount, factory refurbished, discontinued product, scratch and dent stuff. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
on a budget, that's good stuff, right? Controller
Absolutely.
cabinets, overstock. Let's see what's on overstock. Oh, Marco Rocks, the chopped up stuff, the shelf rubble. Ooh, I'm gonna buy
Mhm.
some of that. That's on sale, actually. So go check them out. Use the app, saltwateraquarium.com.
Bring your mom.
So I went to Panama to
Panama.
look for the larger Pacific striped octopus, which has not been seen in the wild since 1976 or
Wait. Let me get
80,
some
80
context.
85,
Let me
85.
get some context.
Okay.
Did was this a Richard woke up one day and put on a safari hat and wanted to do this, or was this a entity, government entity, or scientific group that was like, get Richard?
A woman named Kenna Hughes Castleberry Hughes, she's going to stab me in the eye for not
Yeah.
remembering that, is writing a book about the larger Pacific striped octopus and Arcadio rhodniaceae. If you check below, we'll put a link to the Bigfoot of octopuses.
Really? That's that cryptic.
I'm
You
just
said,
writing that down. That's a talk I did about this octopus, and it'll tell you about it. But Ken is going in way in depth in it. And so one of the things for the book was let's go and try to find it, which no one's done in a long time. So we went down to Panama and we went to the place where Arcadio Rodiniche says he found them, and we went to look for them. And it's an initial expedition, and we didn't find it, but we learned a lot. And we'll probably try again in the winter of 20 in like February of 2027, because the
huh?
book goes to publisher next January, February. So we can't do it. It doesn't make sense to do it for the book. And Ken is going to be very busy. Uh,
Yeah.
but we learned about the spot. We were in a place where there was like no diving infrastructure. So we landed at Panama City, and then we drove 80 miles, which took us 3 hours because of traffic to get there. But we had to pick up 9 tanks, and somebody was supposed to deliver the tanks, and we had to rent another car so we could drive the tanks down. And it was just stressful thing after stressful thing. And everybody on the team was great. Marley and Paloa, Palo, po, Paola, and it was just great. And Austin, and everyone was, really supportive in getting it done. And then, there were no boats, so we chartered a fishing boat. That was really hard to get them to do what we wanted because they
Well,
couldn't
yeah, it's
really,
like fishing boat. They're like, what do we want to catch today? No, we just
no.
want you to drop us off over
We
there.
want we want to go over here, and we want to use your fish finder to find rocks, and we want to go swim around on rocks and sand. They're like,
Yeah.
what?
Why?
Um, So that's what we did. It was very cool. We saw some habitat. There's a behavior that we documented in tanks that we called the slow bounce behavior, and the area we were in, it was like they absolutely will fit in here. It makes total sense that they do that, and that's what it was like in Panama. It was hotter than Texas. It was
Hmm.
more humid than Texas, and we learned a lot. So we need another team to go back to Panama City and fill tanks, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully we'll put another expedition together and go look again, because now we have a lot of ideas about other places to go and time of year. We also went to the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute, where Arcadio did this research in the early 80s and late 70s, and went to his old office. It was kind of cool to stand there in his
Oh,
old
that's cool.
office. We saw where probably he had his LPSO in these big tanks. We talked to his old colleagues. We saw a bunch of his drawings.
Oh, let me ask you this too.
Oh.
Like, how is Panama nowadays as far as like for the traveler? Was it like,
It seemed fine to us. Where we were staying, we were the only Americans for sure.
hmm,
And maybe the only, I was probably the only person that didn't speak Spanish
yeah,
in the whole place we were staying. And it was like a crazy big all-inclusive place because that was the most affordable.
yeah,
Music and sound all the time. It was crazy.
really?
Um, but the traveler advisory is only for like the Mosquito Coast and the other end of Panama. It says don't go there, near Colombia and near the other side. Otherwise, it felt fine. I never felt menaced. Walked around Panama City for a while,
That's
which
cool.
is something I would never do in the past.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it seemed fine.
And then
Um,
the other question I have is where you were diving is not like a place where they take divers. So, man, that's I never get to dive, but that seems crazy to me for you guys to go underwater in a place that doesn't have like visitation by humans.
yeah, no, it's bizarre. It's like, yeah, yeah. Oh, there's some rocks. It looks like some rocks. We mark where the rocks were with a buoy. We get in and we swim around and look at the rocks, and nobody goes there. The people at the dive shop were like, why are you going there?
Yeah. But that's where a cryptic thing, that's crazy because that's where a cryptic thing would be like, hey, stay away from those primates that come underwater.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. One dive, we were on a boat without the fish finder, so we knew there were some rocks in the area, so we just got out and swam around over sand till we found rocks. But of course, the octopuses could be on the sand, they could be on the hard mud, or they could be in the rocks. So it was very cool to go and see the habitat and go, no, no, this is exactly what I pictured from Rodniche's descriptions.
Huh.
And but yeah, it's very bizarre to get in the water and go, there is, if
People
something
don't
bad
tell you.
happens,
Yeah.
it's us,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and also to be at a dive site that I don't know what's here.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's here. We're just going to go see. It's
Yeah,
kind of
because people go
cool.
fish, but people don't really go into the water. So
Right.
yeah.
And it was cool. We were in 30, 40 feet, so we weren't too deep. The visibility most of the time was about a foot and a half. So,
Is there
you know,
reef on that, or is it more like gorgonians and sponge?
there's some corals, but mostly gorgonians where we were, which is one of the reasons nobody goes and dives there, right?
Yeah.
There are areas in Panama that have got coral cover, but we weren't in them.
Huh.
So, um, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to be on like kind of a expedition of we don't know what we're going to find. Let's go
Yeah.
look and learn a lot and hopefully go back. So that was my Panamanian vacation. I could tell you about that because the video is kind of boring. Um, and the boat, we're down one day and we surface and the boat's going, ee! We see the crew on the boat running around. And, of course, it's the oil. There was something wrong with the oil.
Yeah, it's always oil, pressure, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And then there was oil in the water.
Oh,
The gate was open for us to get back on the boat, and chop came up and it like flooded the boat, and the engine
oh,
compartment was open. So they had to close that. So I was in the water with Kenna for about 40 minutes while they were working on the boat.
oh, damn.
And they finally let us on. And then two other boats, a big yacht came out and a little Zodiac and kind of followed us in. So it was nice to know that there was at least support from the marina.
Yeah.
And, but it's always the oil and always something goes wrong. So we lost half a day of diving to that. We thought we were going to get rained out. We never did. So that's good. It was, and it was an adventure, so
I can't imagine being in the water for 40 minutes.
just hanging out. We're just sitting there. It was like
I guess
being at the lake.
I'm from the Jaws, generation.
Oh,
So I keep looking underwater. If I can't see under there, I'd just be like,
oh, dude, some of the divers, there was three divers and me, Marley, and Paola, excuse
oh,
me. I haven't said her name in a week, so Paola. And we had to constantly keep an eye on each other because we couldn't see.
ah,
And once we got separated, but we had a protocol, you look around for a minute and then you go up, and a lot of surface swimming back to the boat.
wait, you said it was pretty turbid?
Oh yeah.
Like like feet wise visibility?
Sometimes the visibility was a foot and a half to 2 feet.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. Sometimes the best viz we had was probably about 8 feet.
Oh.
So not the best for seeing octopuses.
Yeah.
But we knew what we were doing with this trip. And we may citizen science and go fund me for the next expedition.
You need to get a hold of Marineland and get one of those filters that we use with the pleated cartridge. Get one the size of a building.
Yeah. So next year, maybe we'll look for sponsors and we'll look for divers and, see if we can get some more people down and have a couple of teams instead of just the one. But we'll see how that goes. And then the book will come out and that'll be exciting. So, because it's a great story.
Boom, ba-doo, boom, boom, ba-doo, boom, boom.
Champion lighting and supply.
Champion lighting and supply. I don't know how that ever became so whiny.
That was you.
Yeah.
I've got to order from Champion some DI resin. It's time for me to stock up on DI resin from the Toddster.
I order from Champion all the time because if you run a maintenance business or you have a store, don't forget they have wholesale accounts.
Yeah.
So it's like minimum order of 400 or 500 and they pay shipping. And so get a lot of your stuff from there.
From Champion. Also,
supply.
Another sponsor of Reef Retreat. So,
yes.
And Todd's really into the hobby and he knows what's going on.
He has his finger on the pulse.
So if you got questions, you can bother them.
Oh, please.
We'll
Give
put his
Todd a
home
break.
number down at the
Yeah.
bottom right here.
We'll give you access to the camera in his bedroom.
And the best thing about Champion is their cardboard grinder. I know we harp on this all the time.
Yep.
It sounds so stupid, but my God, you know, if anybody should understand how helping the environment is a good thing, it's our hobby and the people in our hobby. So, you know, they grind up old cardboard and use it to stuff their boxes with instead of using brand new plastic. So I love that.
Champion Lighting and Supply, trying to save the earth one order at a time.
One order at a time.
Boom, ba-da-da, boom, boom, ba-doo, boom, boom.
Ben, you want to talk about a short thing real quick or a long thing?
It's sort of a long thing.
Let's talk about your long thing.
Oh, man.
I so didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
And
But
it
my
came
mind
across
is in
like
the
that.
gutter. But we for several episodes, I had been talking about using this relay to control a chiller. I think, 2 or 3 episodes, I must have had some sort of story or issue going on with this relay. And this thing happened with the client, and I wanted to talk about it. Now it's personal in that, so the client got rid of me. And
Okay.
so
this
that's
is-
where it's personal, because it's hurtful.
So this covers a lot of stuff. This covers the reality of working in the industry
Yeah.
and the reality of being in your business of the industry.
Yeah.
The current economy and how it's actually having an impact on people.
Yeah.
Let's hear your tale of woes.
Well, as I may have said before, this client I was always super cool with him. I think I was handling his aquarium for about 3 years. I did a lot of advancements on the aquarium. It was in poor shape. It's quite large. It's almost about a 600-gallon aquarium. The client was, I'm comfortable to say he was super wealthy. This was in a mansion. And but anyways, I had this relay that would handle the higher wattage of the chiller, and as it leads into the apex, and that's what we had been talking about on a couple different episodes.
Right.
But my issue with the client, like I said, is nice guy. We always had good conversations when I was there, spoke back and forth. But the problem with him is he bought this house with the tank in it. And those now I've been doing this since the mid 90s, and so I've experienced a lot of things. And this is maybe just me personal, other people who do what I do, we all have our own personal experiences. But the scenario where someone buys a house and then there's a question, if it's a quite large, complicated, expensive aquarium, either people like, oh, I want the mansion, but I don't want the aquarium, or that, like, oh, that's pretty cool. But they usually find out, and these are wealthy people, but I'm saying they usually find out things like, how much does something like this cost? Oh, wow, that's a little more than I thought people, it's almost always more than people thought that other people spend on this kind of thing.
Sure.
Well, I mean, because to pay me to clean something like that, seriously, it amounts to something around a Ferrari payment, but it's a reef aquarium the size of a car. Of course it does. There's that. But with this client, this didn't have anything to do with money, but the attachment to the aquarium and just the gusto that these type of clients bring to that scenario, it's sort of weird, because the person who would have put that aquarium in there, first of all, would have been like some sort of pseudo hobbyist, even though they got in over their head and then hire someone like me to take care of it. They're just so attached. They put it in there. They pulled the trigger, so to speak, to get this thing in there. But then when you have someone that sort of inherits it like that, they're just not as attached to it as the other people.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And there's a bunch of crazy things. Like, I noticed over the course of 2 months, he started communicating with me a little more about the tank. And now hindsight, I see, once you feel like you're going to get rid of your provider and get someone else, you would start to creep in and gain control of something. This guy was not a hobbyist, didn't know barely anything about anything. but he was like, "Hey, what's the password for the Apex? And what's the deal with
Ah,
this thing?" And you know, at the time, I thought, "Oh, this guy's taking a broader interest in his aquarium." But then 2020, I'm like, "Oh, he was making moves to," which is silly because we had a great relationship, and it's like you could have, it's harsh to get fired, but I'm not like that. Like you could, because I stay super, I don't lie to clients because I found that, lying puts you in bad situations and I keep everything above board. So anytime I've ever been fired is always, it's not because Ben did a bad job. It's just some weird extraneous thing. Still hard to deal with.
sure.
So he texts me and is like, "Hey, do you got time to talk?" And in my head right away, I was like, that don't sound good because yeah, occasionally he's been, "Oh yeah, I need some food," but it just hit me. I was like, I smell something weird. And then he calls me and he talks. Like I said, he's super chill, super nice guy, and he's like, it's always harsh when you get fired, but I hate the vernacular that comes out sometimes when you've told you've been fired and you're dealing emotionally with that because people always use that phrase. Well, we want to take it in another direction. And I'm thinking, this is just me and my raw emotions, but I'm like, what fucking direction? There's no one in this town that's gonna do a better job than me. And though that may sound weird, like we all feel like that when this happens, you
Right.
know? And in the struggles, I think over the years of me staying and committing to being professional no matter what happens, I feel real strongly about that. There's just no point where you need to let your raw emotions come out. It's just not good. Like if you get fired on the phone and you just deal with it. Because the other thing he told me too, because I took it like a champ, but I said, "Hey, this is awkward for me because I'm getting fired, but if you could just give me a second to process this and communicate with you a little bit about it, it's probably going to make me feel a little better." And he was like, "Certainly, I have no problem with that." And because when someone says you're fired and you want to talk to them about it, but
Right.
most of these people are like, "Man, I already made my decision. Like, I don't feel like
Fuck off.
like I've never in 30 something years, I've never had someone say, "You're fired." Well, let me talk to you about it. And then I convinced him out of it. Never happened once. But yeah, I was like, it pisses you off because I was like, man, we have always had great communication. Like if there was something going on that you felt like you needed to switch providers, like we couldn't communicate about that.
So what was it?
Boom, ba-doo, boom, boom, ba-doo, boom, boom.
PolypLab
On this
does
podcast.
whatever a polyp can, spins a lab to a tree. Come on, Richard, help me. Look out. Welcome to PolypLab. Oh, PolypLab, man, all our sponsors are so great. PolypLab has been with us from the beginning and has never looked back. Even though if they listen to these ads, I wonder if they would still love us.
I think they would. I like the Genesis blocks. I actually just Aaron, our friend Aaron,
Hmm.
set up a new frag tank, and I was going over there, and he's like, "Bring me some rubble." So I was like, "I'm not bringing you rubble. I'm bringing you a Genesis block, mofo." And actually, I've got to get together with Hannah. I keep forgetting. Well, I've been gone, but
Yep.
Hannah to do a little project with the Genesis block. I
I
love
have
those.
40 something Genesis blocks out there in the field. And ever since I mean this wholeheartedly, ever since I sort of got on the Genesis block train, whenever I do get a new client and it's like, "Oh, set it up," I just move Genesis blocks from someone else's tank and then put new ones. I sell the Genesis blocks to the new client and I put new ones in the old client. And I don't see, bottle of bacteria stuff. It's like, arguing whether it does this or does what's actually in it. I can just move a Genesis block and it does it every time.
Yeah. So check them out wherever good products are sold, like our other two sponsors.
Boom, ba-doo, boom, boom, ba-doo, boom, boom.
See, that's the thing. It's
You
just,
still don't know.
I sort of know, but it's not like cut and dry. And it's the dumbest stuff because when I asked him, I was like, "So, what's the deal?" And he was like, one thing is a long time ago, customers can be really trying and frustrating. And your job is to just, there's what you want to do and what you recommend to do. And sometimes a client, even if you want to throttle them for getting involved in stuff like this because they know nothing about it, it's like there was that one time where he's like, "Man, me and my wife hate the color orange." And I asked him, I said, "Are you colorblind?" He's like, "No, we just hate the color orange." And so he's like, "I don't like it where you put orange fish in here and there was some orange corals or something like that." And I was like, "Damn, okay." You know? And then there was a thing where it's a very large aquarium with a huge canopy because it's built into his house, and his canopy was rotting. And I was like, and let me tell you, without going into any details really about this guy is just very wealthy. Okay. So things like, hey, your canopy's rotting. Let's look at replacing that. And I went through this whole saga that lasted a year and a half. I brought my uncle out there, who's a master carpenter. And there's sort of writing on the wall that you look at later. He had my uncle out there because we were exploring, like, hey, let's rip this canopy off and redo it. My uncle's expensive, but he does high-end work. And so this client with multiple Ferraris in the garage is like, "Oh, I didn't want to spend that on on the canopy." And so my uncle sort of came out there for no reason, which he's a professional as well, so he went home and everything. But I was like, "So, for like more than a year, I was like, so your canopy is still rotting into the tank. Like, what are we doing?" He's like, "Well, I got a second opinion." And okay, I'll talk to that person. It doesn't have to be my uncle. Month after month after month. "Hey, did you get a hold of that carpenter?" "Well, blah, blah, blah." And so what that does to me over time, and also too, a guy with a lot of money with an aquarium that's the size of a car needed a lot more corals. And it's like, "Hey, can I get the go ahead to spend 1,000, 2,000 bucks on corals?" Which in the scheme of a car-sized reef tank, dude, a
It's not.
1,000 bucks isn't going to get anything done.
Right.
And he was always like, "Well, let's hold off for now." And it's like, man, I've got to get something in there. So and here's a judgment call. At one time, I was like, I've got to put stuff in here because what I would tell him, and always had great communication with him. "Look, you've got these bright lights on here. We're either feeding algae or we're feeding corals. Let's feed corals, not algae. So let's get corals into the system. If you have 10 corals on a 600-gallon aquarium, algae is going to take care of that real estate and grow." And is like, "Oh, okay." And then so he's like, "Let's talk about it next week." Next week, "Hey, can I get the okay to put $1,000, $2,000 worth of corals in here? We'll keep building off of that." And again, I don't want to say it was the money because certainly it wasn't the money, but it's that type of client that's like not pulling the trigger on anything that I say. And so I went ahead and I was like, I have to put something in here. So I put pulsing xenia in this aquarium. Okay.
Yeah.
You go down the road about a year and a half and it's like 30 cubic yards of pulsing xenia in this tank. And his wife came to me one day, which I didn't often communicate with his wife, but she was like, "Hey, let me talk to you about the aquarium." And she was like, "You put some corals in there and they grew a whole lot, but I think they're sort of boring looking." And I was like, "I'm sympathetic to that. I mean, I was asking your husband about putting stuff in there. He didn't give me any direction, so I put that stuff in there." And she was like, "Well, it's just sort of monotonous and boring. And, can you work on getting it out?" Well, I worked for half a year on pulling xenia out of a 600-gallon aquarium, but you know how that works. I would spend an hour siphoning out xenia only to return there in 2 weeks. And it's like I didn't do anything to it, but I'd go in and pull more out, you know.
Yeah.
And then she was mad at it's just, it's not lack of communication. It's just like sort of like me trying my best to make the client happy about something that they don't seem to know what the hell they're asking for.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're just like in an impossible situation. They don't know what they want. You're trying your best to give them something, and they keep seeing it being not what they want. And eventually they go, "Well, he's not giving me what I want."
Which is crazy because I felt that and I knew that, and I've been doing this for 30 years, and I would like to think I'm very on the ball about heading shit like that off at the pass at the pass. I communicate big time. I communicate ad nauseum about the things that are going to make the tank better, trying to get a client to pull the trigger on a decision. It's not like I forgot about it. It's just every time I saw him, like, "Hey, we should put corals in there." Well, so it's this stuff that makes no sense to me. And, after I took maybe a week to really feeling the sting, because it was a large client with a large amount of money, to, doing that. And that was a real kick in the nuts when I'm not getting much business otherwise because the economy. Once I got past like a week of like, oh, woe is me type stuff, I really did reach to the point where I think is more healthy with thinking like, hey, look what sort of problem this client was. Like, yeah, I needed and wanted the money monthly of what that brought in. And at least this guy, it wasn't a mean thing. It was just a confusing, stupid, not pulling the trigger on anything. But it's just like, the thing is that guy's tank could be so much more than what he was allowing it to be. And he just, I fought that for so long. And after a while, it's like, look, I can't, it's not my wallet. It's not my house. It's not my aquarium. I can't force him to. Like that guy certainly had the wherewithal. We could just dump 10 grand and I could deck that thing out, but he would just never do it. And so it's like at the end of the day, so what that causes me to do is when a client won't do anything, yes, I would drag my feet a little bit because I would go there. See, I'm real big on that. I will go there and I will do everything that I told you I'm going to do because that's my own conscience and my own pride to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show up and not do a good job because a client won't do what I want. That's ridiculous. But it sort of sucks the excitement out of me. How am I
Sure.
supposed to be excited about your aquarium? Your canopy's rotting. You're a millionaire.
It's just a
Don't
job.
let me put corals in there. It's just a job. It's not, exciting. And it's not, I promise you. So the thinking would be like, oh, he saw that in you, Ben. I promise you it wasn't that because every time I saw him, I would communicate, this is what this tank needs to be better. This is a millionaire and his tank needed more internal circulation. And I said, but it's tricky because it's a peninsula tank. So I don't have a spot to put something on there like a MP60 or something like that. So and the overflow like sits in the wall. So any way that I was going to increase the circulation on this tank would have to be a magnetically coupled pump that would sit on the overflow box, but obviously not a vortex because you cannot put that in the water, that part. So, like a Seche, it's what I did. I went out and got a Seche, is it Voyager? Yeah, Seche Voyager 10, two of them. And I put it on the tank because a Seche Voyager pump is not a fancy pump, but boy, a Seche Voyager 10 really, and it's
Really, it
what was
moves
it?
a lot of water.
Yeah, and it's a 10-foot long tank. So I was like, look, and I sort of did that unilaterally because, it's up to a certain dollar amount. He already told me like, you don't need to communicate with me about stuff that costs less than $500. So I was like, okay. But then he contacted me after that. It's like, what are those horrid things you put on the tank? And here's where you get to aesthetics versus function. Whereas like, oh man, to me, to my eyes, I was like, hey man, the circulation that those are providing, certainly a person can train themselves to like look past these sticking out a little bit, you know? And then, so what I mean, and then so it's like I'm trying to find a solution for something, but they were like, well, I don't want it to be seen at all. And I'm like, if we're looking to push thousands of gallons an hour, it's gonna be seen. And for you
Well,
to
you
just
gotta, don't you? I mean, you gotta like hide it behind rocks or something.
not a
Hang,
Voyager 10.
hang
I
a
guess
piece
I
of
could,
fiberglass in front of it, a fiberglass backdrop or something like that. I mean, it's the same stuff we did, at public aquariums,
yeah.
but it's just then it's money. And it sounds to me like he never wanted a reef tank or anything, and he just wanted, some a school of fucking chromis or something, and that was
He
it.
like sort of wants it, but the deal is he doesn't know that much about aquarium, so he doesn't understand the intricacies of.
Sure.
Here's the worst part to me, and I feel like I can probably wrap it up after this. The worst part is what I was dealing with is it's a filtration room behind the wall where the aquarium's directly in his house on the other side of the wall. And it's a whole room that you walk in that's off of his garage, that all the filtration and a giant water vat and all the stuff is in there. Well, there is a 3/4 horsepower chiller in that room
With no ventilation.
with no ventilation. The company that installed it before me, what they did is the chiller is in a corner of the room. And what they did was cut a hole in the drywall and just put like a metal vent that you would find in your house there, but with no fan or anything, that because you can't just do that. The chiller would sit there in the corner and just barf hot air all over the
Yeah.
corner of the room.
Did that duct go outside?
It led right through the wall and right into his garage, but there's nothing.
Nothing
It's just a
pushing.
chiller pushing hot air against the wall. Some of it goes through that vent just because of the force of the air. But, and I told him when I first took over the tank, I was like, man, there's got to be a fan. There's got to be something that draws it out into the garage. Because, first of all, we found out that this chiller is about 15 years old. Okay. So, what started happening and why we had this show about the relay that was kicking the relay off, and I spoke about this on the show that
Ah,
we
yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I didn't really know this because HVAC isn't like my bag, but what I found out from talking in our Discord, which this is one of the reasons I love the Discord, is because there's so many people that do so many different things in there. I can ask questions and there's going to be someone in there that knows about HVAC. So, if something like a chiller it gets itself really hot or is not ventilated well and it's blowing hot air and getting itself hot, when it is asked to kick on, something about the compressor or whatever, it's asking for more amps to come on than it normally would if it was not so damn hot. I didn't know that. And I guess like your unit for your central heating and air conditioning does that as well.
Sure.
If it's hot outside, it draws more amps to come on. Okay. And that I find out that's what was kicking this relay off. And and it's so frustrating because I have the text and I had this long text where I was telling him because he was like, I think there's something wrong with your relay. And I brought it to the Discord and we hashed and rehashed it. And everyone that I trust that seemed to know a lot about it was like, okay, the relay should be able to handle that. But what's going on is that chiller's not well ventilated, so it's drawing more and more amps, going way past what the relay can handle.
Yeah, and it's also old and,
Yeah.
dirty and all that kind of stuff.
And it's insane. And so I flat out, again, it's the stuff that you get fired for stuff you explain to a client and you get frustrated. But, at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? If you're not going to listen to me, I don't need this kind of shit anyways.
Yeah, they don't want it's tough because you care about tanks and not all clients do, and it gets frustrating and it's really hard to just go, yeah, okay.
And I don't mind brainstorming. I mean,
But they want solutions. They don't want to brainstorm with you. He
well,
wants a
and he
pretty
actually
tank.
sort of did because, again, I don't want to provide too many details, but this guy is an engineer by trade, but now the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. But so we would have these brainstorming sessions, and I don't mind that as long as they're constructive or not. If I say, hey, your tank seems to be having this problem, here's what I do. Here's what I would do. And then a client's like, well, maybe blah. Okay, let's brainstorm with it. But but if every time, especially when you get closer to what's in my wheelhouse, like what is in the aquarium and coral acquisition and fish acquisition, I do not want to argue about that shit. Okay, HVAC, electrical. Hey, fair enough. Let's brainstorm about them because I'm not an electrician. But
Right.
yeah, just every time I'm like, hey, your canopy's rotting. Let's do this. Well, I think we can just, do this or that. Hey, your chiller's choking on hot air. Well, blah, blah. You know what? Have fun with it. But I'll end it with this. It is always, if you're doing this for a business, no matter how you feel emotionally, you have to end these relationships on a good note because it's always you might not want it back, but it might be possible because he did tell me he's like, hey, if this company doesn't work out, I'll reach back out to you. Which in my head I'm like, you know what? When I'm done, I'm fucking done because you don't listen to me and what the fuck, you know what I mean? I might change my tune later, but that's just the raw emotion that I feel. Like, I'm going to take you back and you don't listen to me? Like, what are we going to do now? You know? But
Yeah. I
always,
guess
always remain professional.
yeah. I guess the only thing you can do is either suck it up and do the best you can without overly getting them involved, because even if they say they want to be involved, it sounds like a client who just wants a pretty thing and doesn't want more problems, right?
You
But
know, and
but
this
you
is
know,
the
you can get it all in writing beforehand with budgets and everything, or you get frustrated. There's really no way around it.
It's just the gross feeling in my mouth is I got fired for stupid reasons. And he wasn't mad at me. It wasn't that I didn't do a good job. It wasn't any like what I feel is like a legit
Yeah.
reason to get fired. He just seems confused and he thinks, and I don't mean to sound arrogant like this, but I know the other providers in my area. And again, this sounds arrogant, but I chuckle because it's like if you think any of these other chuckle fucks are gonna lead this
Well,
aquarium.
I'm sure that's what happened. He talked to somebody else and they went, "Oh yeah, we can fix that."
Yeah, good. Fuck
Because
you. Have fun.
that's what he wants to hear.
And you know, if I put the shoes on my foot, that's sort of what I do when I take over another
Sure.
client. I don't try to do it egregiously or annoyingly, but I'm like, oh yeah, they didn't do this. And I try to point out mistakes. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make everything better. And I do. Then I go and I do make
Yeah.
everything better.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you lost a client. I'm happy sad for you, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's I don't need the loss of income, but I need to concentrate on some other client that would allow me to.
sure. And how's that? How's the market?
It is horrible.
Awesome.
It is out and out horrible. Now, I guess I would say real quick, like obviously I've been doing this for a long time. I specialize in a clientele that has deeper pockets, but like just the phone is not there in a client in an economy like this, and you know, the tariffs, not tariffs, whatever's going on, people just aren't. It's not the time to buy a 30, 40, 50, $60,000 aquarium. People aren't making
Sure.
those decisions around me. Right.
Sure. No, nowhere. I mean, look, I've started officially saving for that in-wall tank that one day I'll do a video and update everyone out. But it's not an insignificant amount of money. And it's a weird time, man. I feel weird spending that money when I know a lot of people don't have any money.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut a big hole in my house with the economy and the way the world is right now. It just feels like, I need to wait. I need to wait.
It's the let them eat cake tank.
Yeah, right. And so that feels weird too. And somebody gave me grief about talking about Apple Watches because not everyone can have an Apple Watch. It's like, oh my God, really? This is,
Yeah.
but it's a hard time to go, yeah, let's put this investment on this new thing.
And so invariably what happens is, you know, part of how I get clients sometimes it's just, you know, you have to have many different approaches, but one of is this little app called Thumbtack where people, and usually
Yeah.
it's lower level stuff, but believe it or not, I've gotten some big clients off of it. So, you know, it feels weird, but you're a business and sometimes you have to suck it up. And, you know, so I've been trying to, it sucks because you lose one big client and just to stay afloat, you have to plug in like 5 little clients where that one was. And it's
Yeah.
like doing 5 times the amount of work for, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your job is great when it's great. And when it sucks because, sometimes, I mean, but I guess that whole idea of, do what you love and you'll never be unhappy or work a day. And it's like,
That
it's
is
all
not
such
fucking
bullshit.
true. Not
It's
fucking
so
true.
untrue. Even at public aquariums, it's like, I mean, it was the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Your boss at a public aquarium is essentially a client, and
Yeah.
they're like, we want this to be great. Okay, I need $1,000. Oh, we can't give you $1,000.
No, and imagine just like what you're saying, if your client was just, I mean, your boss was like my client. And like you have told me to do things, I bring it to the table and you shoot it all down. What am I here for?
Right. Right. I remember once it was like, you need to redo this tank. It's like, okay, what's my budget? We don't have any money. Just, rearrange the rock that you've got. It was like, okay. So I
Yeah.
tried some things and then we had, a big rounds where we went through all the tanks and the big mucky muck was like, this is not your best work. And I went, I know. It was like, I know, but I was told just to use this. So I'm trying. And they're like, well, here, get some more rock. And it was like, okay. And like the next day it was like, here you go. It's like, I don't understand why you wouldn't have let me
And
do
then
this in the first
imagine,
place.
see, that's the pain is imagine then getting fired.
Right. Oh, I don't have to imagine.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you quit.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mutual discharge.
Yeah, whatever. It's yeah, I don't need to talk about it.
Yeah. No, but it is crazy because people give you pocket change to do something. You're like, I'm gonna do my best. I mean, that's my attitude anyways. I'm gonna do my
Right.
best with whatever budget you give me. If you don't like what I did, that means you gave me fucking pocket change.
Right.
Let's see what you can do for pocket change.
Right. Uh, um, science costs money.
Yeah.
Things, projects cost money and time, and they're hard. It's but people are resistant to. They think, oh, I don't even know what they think. It's like,
You
oh,
know
it's an
that
aquarium. This stupid cube here that I've been working on, which I love now. I figured out the flow, but
uh-huh.
it's been 6 months of dicking around with flow.
Yeah.
I even got some new gyres and hooked them up to a MXM. And it was only then that I realized, oh, the gyres don't pulse like, other pumps do. So I can't,
That quickly.
yeah, I can't do what I want to do.
Some of them do though, right? But just not as fast as a Vortec.
Right. Or yeah. So you want to know what I ended up with? And I'll take you on a tour of this in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Two Jabo SLWs or MLWs.
Dude, they just push hard.
And I've got them, they're either pulsing at the same time or they do the cross flow.
Yeah.
And it's like low profile. I took the wave pump out and it's like, oh, I am really happy with what's happening in these tanks now. I was like, fuck, I need an enemy guard. Oh,
Yeah.
3D printed file. Boom. 5 hours later, I've got an enemy guard. I've got better ones coming, but at least the flow is good now. So, I mean, just shit takes, cubes, by the way, cubes are terrible for flow, especially smaller ones. It's like, they're just tough.
And to end out the segment and segue onto what you're doing is like this. The crazy thing is, I always hope that hobbyists that watch our show understand that the difference between doing this as a hobby and then how much of a fucking walking on a razor's edge it is to, if you ever thought, now I'm not trying to be negative, but it's like, oh, I want to do aquarium maintenance. I'm not trying to scare anyone away from it. It's just like, it's more than what you think it is, because an aquarium is difficult enough to wrangle on your own. And then imagine someone is over your shoulder, like judging everything that you're doing, or if what you do doesn't work, if it's me, like, oh, that's not the right pump, let me do this, or oh crap, let me change these lights, like having to pass that through someone else, and how much does that cost, and blah blah blah, and it's like, it's another layer of complexity on just running a damn tank,
and you got to keep them happy.
Yes.
So, yeah. So with our million years of being alive and working, all jobs suck. There's big chunks of jobs that suck. So, some of the advice is like, get a job that you can leave at home. Actually, I was just talking to Aaron, our friend Aaron, about this.
Sarkisian?
Yeah, I was like, should we, maybe I'll buy a fish store. It's like, dude, you don't want to.
No.
And he was like, no, I don't want a fucking fish store. I was like, the job you have now, do you leave it at work? He's like, yeah. I'm like, then you've got the best world,
the grass is not greener.
It makes me, I go to work, I make money, I come home, I don't think about work.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do besides winning the lotto.
Yeah, absolutely. Which that's what I'm gearing towards now.
And having done many things I love for jobs, they all become fucking jobs.
And I'll tell you this though, the best tanks that I have out there, I swear to Neptune, are clients that love me and leave me the fuck alone.
Right. Just finding enough of those to make your nut.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So
and
that's
then you
why
pick up people that don't know what they want or don't know how to get there and blah blah blah. Yeah.
I've got a box.
What is in the box?
Guess what's in the box?
A human head.
No. You're never going to guess.
F-Aptasia.
No.
You bought the company.
No.
You called Frank and were like, oh, I have those, and I used those back in the day. SCWD. I can't remember what that's something. What did it stand
Switching.
for? Oh, so it's right there.
Water.
Director.
Director.
Boy, someone stayed up late at night coming up with that acronym.
Yeah. So it's a if people don't know, you can still get them new.
Was that the early 2000s? It wasn't
Yeah.
the 90s. That was the early 2000s.
Uh yeah.
You
But they're
can
still
still get them new?
yeah, brand new. The company's still in existence.
Oh my God.
And I realized so it's there we go. So it's got an input at the bottom. Let's see if I can get there. It's got an input at the bottom, and then it's got a gearing inside of it that makes water go this way, and then it gears around and goes the other way. So I've got those two adductors or penductors in the back of my tank,
Yeah.
and they've each got their own valve. And I'm going, I could have one more output to use somewhere else in the tank or use as a hose or something, you know.
Yeah.
And these things don't need to be on at the same time, and I'll get more flow actually if
Yeah.
all the flow goes to one and all the flow goes to the other. So I saw these in Panama
Are you serious?
at a little aquarium in Panama, and they have them on every tank, and I went, I want one of those again.
So I used them a lot in the early 2000s. That one right there accepts half-inch flexible hose.
Yeah.
There's a larger version, but I learned to hate it
Yeah.
because it never worked. Now
I got the big one too.
Oh, you did?
I got a 1-inch one, and I think I've got a 3/4-inch one somewhere.
I never
Oh,
heard
and
of
this
the
one's
3/4
threaded.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Why did you not like?
And Richard, another thing on that big one, the top comes off
Yeah.
to clean it easier.
Yeah. So why did you hate it?
It never. I remember I tried with different pumps and I paid attention to what gallons per hour is asking me for.
Yeah.
But it would always stick. It would get something grown into it, you know, and I would clean it. It's also a little nerve-wracking because the smaller one, you can't really clean it. You can soak it in 10%
Yeah.
or whatever, but you can't open it up.
Yeah.
But the big one always made me nervous too because it's like a thin O-ring and whatnot. Like if
That's why the big one makes me nervous. I should have bought a 3/4-inch one as well because I'm not sure where mine is. But anyway, I'm going to try it out and see what if it gives some more dynamical flow.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say, since we're talking about flow, and I guess we'll put the name of the company down at the bottom in case anybody wants one. To get a squid, we'll put the link. Is, you know, on wild reefs, and the reefs in Fiji were in great shape, and the reefs in Tonga were fucking unbelievable that we saw. But the thing, we so underestimate flow in our tanks, and it's not jets of flow. You know, it's the whole mass of water moving. So I think I'm at Reef Retreat. I'm going to present on flow. So I'm going to have to do a bunch of experimental tanks so I can show, because it's so hard to talk about. But man, so much water moves on wild reefs.
And that's
so
a tricky
much
thing
water.
because we think about, like, you know, we hear like velocity or what, but what you can't forget is all the stuff we had in the past to move water is like you were just saying, shoots this little jet, and it's not like that. It's an entire wall of water that moves.
Well, I never would have expected it with these two Jabo Puck, you know, Nero ripoffs facing each other, being on pulse at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that'll be terrible, right? Because they'll interact in a way that's going to make the flow not good. It's going to make it too harsh.
Yeah.
And everything in the tank's bouncing gently. I mean, it's
if you dial it down enough, and then
they're all the way up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot about flow that I think are mind stories that make sense. And when we actually bother to take the time to experiment with it, it's surprising.
Yeah.
So I'll take next episode. I plan to take you on a tour of this tank.
Cool.
And show you a little bit of the different flow. But I'm really, really freaking happy with them.
Nice.
Yeah, so flow. And it's about getting the major thing that Adam Stouty took away from when I talked with him about it, which I'm trying to say to everyone, which is not anything we didn't know, but it's saying it again baldly. You want to get the whole mass of the water moving.
Yeah.
And And you can do that with millions of jets everywhere, so it's moving everywhere, or you can make a kind of a gyrish thing. And again, and the second part of that is if you can get it moving one way in the tank and then the other way in the tank, and then in both ways of the tank at the same time, then you've got flow that's reaching everywhere.
I've experienced very large tanks where you would put very big like circulation pumps and like imagine a 12-foot long tank, okay,
Yeah.
but like a MP60 at each side, and you think that's good. My experience has been it creates hella dead spots because exactly what you said, even though an MP60 isn't something that's gonna throw that fine of a, a jet of water, but you do need to move the entire thing, stop it, and then move it, another direction.
Yeah.
Just two rip roaring, pumps in on a big old tank. It's got to be, and that thing you and I have talked about before, if you pulse too fast, you're just making the water do this.
Yeah.
Where it's like you need to sometimes, well, in the chaos of it, sometimes you do that.
Yeah, and I saw a tank, a 400-gallon tank with a wave box on it, a Tunza wave box.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That because it's sucking and pushing. The other way to do it, like if I was like this tank that I'm talking about doing here, either it will have a Biz or Pantaray. Pantaray's got a new pump that changes
That
direction.
inline one. Yeah.
Yeah. So either it'll do that, or you put 4 big pumps on each side that can be controlled individually. That way you can put a gyre from top to bottom, both directions, or bottom to top, and from right to left or left to right, high and low. And that's feels like that's really how you would get everything moving. Because if it's coming, you can reinforce it by going, if it's going left to right in the front, it's going right to left in the back. And you reinforce that motion. And you've got to give it time to move. It's not like instant. And you've got to see how big is the plume, all kinds of shit. I'm sorry, you were going to say?
No, I was saying that would be interesting. I was just thinking of that because if you just plugged pumps into an apex, and like let's say you had 4 return pumps, but they weren't big,
Yeah.
4 smallish return pumps. But then I was thinking like however often you had them on and off, because return pumps don't really love to be like turned on and off for all that long. But if you had, that would be a call where I would say it would make sense to get a really expensive pump like an Abyss that can handle that sort of abuse better.
And it's easier. You can just ramp them up and down.
Yeah, that's true.
Ramping is a big deal because it pushes in a way that we don't get. Right?
No, and the other thing too is think about like, because you and I know what happens if the jacket to the impeller gets a little swollen when you turn it off and it sticks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come back on. If you're just ramping down, like it should never be like that. And that'd be interesting if you could go, I mean, that'd be crazy to have 4 Abyss pumps. Maybe that's not necessary, but you have this one come down to 80 and then this one comes up 20%. And, so truly your gallons per hour flowing through the system isn't really changing. It's just the pumps are changing.
Yeah. And that's where something like a squid or actuated ball valves actually might make a lot of sense. Oh shit. There was something important that was in my head about flow right there. That, the new tank I'm talking about, if I do it, it'll have 8 inches to a foot on each side that you won't see.
I've always wanted to do that. I know exactly what you're getting at.
Right? Because otherwise you've got fucking pumps on the side and you have to look at them.
I have wanted to do that for a long time.
I'd like that to be hidden. So, when you start thinking about these things and getting, going through a lot of different trials, you kind of go, wow, just a box of water isn't what I want anymore. I want to set up the environment to maximize the pretty.
Yeah, and I guess, it's funny because we love to brainstorm and we want to come up with something new and cool or this or that. But like, and you do sit and brainstorm about it a lot because the fear would also be, what if I want to do this crazy thing? And then, I go through all this effort and it's like, wouldn't fucking helpful. And it's just like,
Yeah.
But no, I have like the idea of that. I've brainstormed that up before of having like a the walls here, but the tank is another foot past it, and there's all sorts of pumps that I guess you could see it, but you'd have to like really push your face against
Yeah.
the tank.
Yeah, and you can also do stuff with lighting there, right?
Yeah.
So you make it dark on those sides,
Yeah,
so you
cryptic or whatever.
minimize it.
Yeah.
But I've been playing with this for 15 years, and I've been thinking about this new tank for a year and a half now. So we'll see what happens. I hope I get to do it, because every time I see a bigger tank or I get to a wild reef, I go, oh man, I just want more space.
It's crazy because your tank is not that big, and it's so much growth. Like I could see, like, oh, I want to do this for fall. There's no room in there.
Yeah, and I'll talk. I did some video of it because I came home and it was like I can't clean the front glass anymore. So it was like I took a video of where it was and like the spots where I couldn't clean it because the coral had grown too far.
Yeah.
And then I went through and I just started hacking shit. Tonight I'll take another video so we have a comparison of what I chopped up and what I didn't. Now it's like, all of a sudden some stuff below has got light. It was like, an inch of coral or 2 inches of coral in a 10-inch area.
Yeah.
Trimming that back all of a sudden lets, twice the amount of light down. So
I mean, that's the same, I garden. That's the same as gardening.
yeah. Yeah, a tank is never done. I see these people going, if I could just have it like this, I'd be happy. It's, dude, now you've got the next set of problems, which is trimming shit all the time.
Well, the other crazy thing is like when corals get super big and like as glorious as that's sort of what I hate about this too, because the more glorious the coral gets, it just sort of means that now it's time to chop it the hell up.
Dude, I've got a hystrix. Actually, you can see it. Look over my right here over my whatever
Stereatophora hystrix.
Yeah,
nest coral.
That is almost in complete shade.
Yeah,
like underneath an overhang,
and
a little bit of light, and it still grows.
In my experience, they actually don't get that mad with not so aggressive lighting.
No, I thought it was going to croak out, and it's got polyps all the way down. So stupid.
Go on, talk about flow too. I've always thought that as well. Like, so the coral makes, all that dead skeleton body below it, and that's why when I first got the tank, I had 2 MP40s, and it's like,
right,
dude, as you keep your tank, your circulation is going to have to evolve because these corals are like blocking everything up.
Right. I mean, that's why I'm looking at using the squid to get me one more thing. That's why the lock line manifold thing is such a big deal. Unless your tank is big enough that you can, keep it open front to back. So if I go with a 48-inch deep tank front to back, I can't the idea is to have channels in the front and back so all the water can move.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that this wave maker, let's see if it'll happen there.
Oh, there it goes.
It's a puck.
SLW. Yeah.
Yeah, the SLW,
Nero, like the AI Nero,
or the MLW. The profile of it in the tank is really small.
Yeah, it's just a hockey puck.
I've done something interesting with a magnet and some corals to block one of them.
Ah, okay.
So, but I'm getting into other stuff. I got 2 more things. You have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay, these things are pretty quick. The first one is if you're looking for battery backup for your tank, a lot of the EcoFlow stuff is going to be on sale with the holidays. I think Labor Day is coming up when we're recording this, but that'll be over. But then Thanksgiving is coming again, and stuff will be on sale. So keep your eyes out, because the sales on like the EcoFlow 2 Pro are starting to get good. Like I'm going, maybe I'll buy another one. The battery's on sale too. But you got to look at price per watt kind of thing or capacity. I'm more about a capacity guy. So like the EcoFlow Pro Max has got like 2,000 or 2 kilowatt hours essentially, where the regular EcoFlow 2 has got 1,000. So you gotta look at that. So anyway, that stuff's on sale, and make sure you test it if you get one. The other thing, somebody asked us, let me see if I can find out who asked this. This was on YouTube. Jerry Coral Boy 9305 asks, all the gadgets and doodads are awesome on a reef tank, but honestly, I'd love to know how many apps you have on your phone to control your tanks. I know I have 3 and I have a basic tank. I'd love to see what other people's collection of apps look like.
To that person, I would say, then you do this for a living, and I have a frustrating amount, and you just have to. I mean, it's up to you what equipment you want to use, or But yeah, I might have a dozen different apps, and it's like I sort of hate it. Like some of the apps are horrible. Like the
Yeah.
Khmer for the that one makes me mad
I
because
hate that.
just to get on and to see what it's doing, I have to tell it to email me and then get the code from my email and
Every time, right?
yeah, and it's like, come on.
All right.
But
So what I've got AC Infinity. I've got one that's I can't talk about. I've got a smart home. I've got the Waze app. Those are all for cameras and some weird automation. I've got Habitat, which I need to raise and lower my screens. I've got the EcoFlow app for backup. I've got the Toshiba app for the air conditioner. I've got Alexa, which does some fans.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with
oh
this.
No
no.
one's talking to you. I don't use that app anymore. I don't
Unless
use
you
that.
just turned on everyone else's Alexa.
I've got the Hydros app.
Yeah.
And now let me go. I was going to organize these, but I didn't.
Yeah, I got
And then
my
in reefing, I've got Mobius. I've got Apex Fusion. I've got Seache Control All.
control.
I've got the Chemor, but I don't use that anymore. I've got the Jabo. I've got Smart Reef 360 that I don't use anymore. I've got
Oh, was that from that Polish company?
yeah,
I
and
have
I've
it
got-
too, but I need to erase
and
it.
I've got Reef Beat. So that's like 12 apps, 15 apps.
360 Smart Reef, Apex Fusion, Mobius, Control, Kessel Wi-Fi, Khmer Remote, My AI, X1 Pump, Reef Beat, Inkbird, Hydros, Delua,
Yeah, and now that I have to use separate apps. I'm not that worried about the separate apps thing anymore. It's just it'd be nice if it was in one place, but it looks like that ship has sailed.
Well,
I want to see that. I want to see. So yeah, a lot of apps. Jerry Coral Boy 9305.
Yeah, Jerry Coral Boy, do this for a living. It gets far worse.
Do you have the new Delua light with the 4 pucks in it?
I really like it. I do have it. I have 3 of them over a client's reef.
Yeah, they look great.
I'm a reef tank guy, but I always get confused, like not confused, but people are like, oh, what are the diodes and the like? I can't. I'm not that guy. I'm not Jake. Jake used to get into it like that, like
Yeah.
wattage per diode, and did they use Cree? And I just don't really know that. I will tell you right out of the box. Okay, 2 things. Let me say about that Delua light. Right out of the box, I guess what I want to call color rendition is better than any light that I've ever worked with.
Yeah, I saw them at Sandler had a bunch of them, and I was like, oh, those look good.
I mean, I can guess how they're doing it, but but right out of the box, and I put it above this reef tank, it was making a flame hawk so red you could barely look at it. But then the blue things in the tank were blue as well, and I'm not exactly sure how you do. I've never had any of the lights do that. They either wash it out blue or it's not enough blue.
Yeah, and I think I figured out a way to make to do the spawning. I have figured out a way to do the spawning. You just need you need a lunar light and a morning and night light. That's all.
But the second thing about that Delua light is the app that they have for it
Yeah.
is got to be one of the best apps out there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Does it have a moonlight?
I'd have to look again because I don't fiddle with it too much. But in the beginning, everyone, me, how much of a caveman I am with new technologies. It was one of those things like an iPhone where I got the light, I put it up, and I was like, all right, let's see how frustrated I'm going to get because I'm not going to understand something or register it, and it's not going to pick up the Wi-Fi. It's probably the best app I've ever been around.
All right. Well, I might. There's a possibility I'm going to see Anthony tomorrow. So I want to talk to him about that.
Those and refis are my current two.
Yeah, and Daniel has done a lot of stuff for spawning, but it looks like I can't program it the way I want it to. It looks like you could say set this to be at these coordinates in the world, and it'll do the moonlight and the sunrise and the sunset for you. And I guess you lie to it about what time it is, so you can have it being lit up when you want it to be. But I need more control than that.
Yeah, the Delure, the refi, you're not going to go wrong with either.
They look good. I also like the Atlas. I'm using the Atlas over the big trough I have, which I don't think I've shown anybody on the show. The trough under the house is where all my I owe so many catch ups. I got to do the spawning catch up, especially for Walt. But over that tub where I'm growing coralline on the settling tiles, I've got it. I think it only comes on at the lowest setting at 20%, and it lights the whole thing. It's 4 feet by 6 feet. So
yeah,
it's there's so many good options now, just in the sense of light. It's pretty exciting. So
but it's weird with some things going away,
Yeah, well,
but
things come and go, and I've got all these backups for stuff. But, if I can figure out a way, to use a light that I like better, maybe I'll do that.
When I hate to say it, if this economy doesn't figure itself out, like, we're going to lose some more stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's also one of the reasons that I got the backups now. It's like, I don't know what the economy's doing.
Yes.
I don't want to have to buy, 5 new lights or whatever next year when these tariffs might have gone, through the roof.
Yeah. Well, because these companies can hold on, for a while. There, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but just real quick. Like, I like to use Reef octopus skimmers, and I hadn't had to buy a brand new one in a little while.
Yeah.
Just recently, I looked and I was like, "What the crap?"
Oh, the price?
The tariffs.
Yeah.
For even a moderately sized one that would do like 150, 200-gallon aquarium was like $700.
Yeah. No,
like,
stuff is going. Electricity is more expensive. Everything's more expensive. I realized I had a light that I'm not using anymore, a skylight under the house that's been on for 2 months since I moved the tank out. I was like, off. I don't need to be spending 200 watts.
Yeah. The cockroaches under your house are like, hey,
and every day I run my battery on solar, right? So, I get about 450 watts for about 4 or 5 hours a day. And it's like, oh no, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. That's money I'm not paying.
Free light.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's very interesting.
Hold on to your socks.
Hold on to your butts. Well, that's pretty much it. I do want to talk quickly to beefers, because who else will have listened this far, and talk Reef Retreat. Reef Retreat's going to be good next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting. The website's up. I don't know when this is coming out, so it'll be open for general sign up sometime in September, I believe, at the end of September.
Same place.
Are
they going to be able to handle it if, like, with how
we're only doing like 175 people. We were limited to like 125 people, not including sponsors and things.
Yeah.
So 200 people total, or 198 people total, actually. That's what it can handle. That's what it'll be. And it'll be in person. It's a shared experience. It's nothing's going to be really videoed because it's for being there. And beefers, there's the people who have been there last year have already been able to sign up, and it's going well already. And I'm super excited. And, Reef Beef has got a big part in making the show happen. And I couldn't be prouder that if that's the only thing Reef Beef ever does, I'm pretty proud that we're involved in that. And I got to thank the beavers for it. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I know that times are tough, and the buy me a coffee stuff, the bronze reefing, all that stuff that really helps keep Reef Beef going. We're going to have more merch available. more fun merch. But that's another project that we're trying to get off the ground. And so thank you for your support. If you can buy some coffee or become a member, it's great. And membership at any level gets you into the membership side of the Discord, which is great. Totally chill. Everyone's mellow. There's no drama.
And hey, do what you can. If you can, if you can't, just watch us.
Yeah.
Just share us. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
All
if
of it's
you-
awesome.
And if you want to just watch us, that always helps. If you want to share the links around, that's great too. We really appreciate it, and we really dig the community that's grown up around the show that really could continue without us at all. We could
That's-
die, and it would
That's
still
the
happen.
part that trips me out the most. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't ever thinking of that.
It's kind of great. And we appreciate everything. So thank you. And if we can do anything for you, let us know. I've done a couple consults in the last few months. They're really fun, really
You
useful.
need to borrow a cup of sugar, like just
Yeah.
come over to the house. I don't
Stick of
have it because
butter.
I'm diabetic, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then it would be easy to get it from you.
Yeah. Oh, please have it. Take it.
Take it. So thank you, Beefers. Thank you. We got to talk to Brittany about her club sponsoring us. Bay Area Reefers sponsors us. It's great. Great. So thank you very much. I want to thank our sponsors. Who are they, Ben?
They are saltwateraquarium.com
Champion Lighting and Supply.
and PolypLab.
We are powered by PolypLab. Thanks, and we'll talk to you on the flippity floppity. Boom, ba-doo-doo, boom, boom, ba-doo, boom, boom. Oh, we went long. Yeah, look. So this is Reef beef on my chesticles.
Oh my god, they name any bit. Holy cow. And there's
Yeah.
your tramp stamp. Oh, I like that shirt.
Yeah, we're testing them.
You should have a video of you testing them,
We just made that
poking them with fire, like
with fire.
with nails and a hard hat on, and like throwing Q-tips soaked in alcohol at them.
Okay.
That's testing. Look, I don't know if you're from the school of RFK, but that's true scientific testing.
I am definitely not from that school. Say a word, bitch.
Word, bitch.
Okay, good. Anything else? What?
I think that's good.
What's my name? What?
Richard.
What?
Richard.
What?
Ross. Say my name. Say my name.
What? 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 Okay. Are we ready?
We're ready. Yeah, you know our mutual friend Brian Green. I always watch his travels, and when you see his gear that he shows on there, it's like I think some of that gear costs more than my house.
Yeah, it does.
It's like
I was texting with him because he was in Suva.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "How's your expedition going?" And he's like, "Everyone on the boat is sick except me, and we can't launch the sub because that's why everyone's sick, because the conditions are
Oh.
terrible." And so we laughed about that. And then the next day I was like, "Hey, our boat breakdown. Guess what it was?" He's like, "It's the oil." I'm like,
Oil.
"Yes, it's always the oil." So we were having fun going back and forth with that. Brian's a great guy. I like Brian. We got to get him on the show one day.
Oh,
Just Brian's-
he goes like 300, 400 feet.
Yeah. He's the real deal. I like Brian a lot. That's why you're starting an OnlyFans.
Yep.
You could you'd probably make money in OnlyFans.
I'll chop wood in my underwear.
Put stuff up your butt.
Yeah.
That's gone forever now.
Oh no, it'll come back when it is least expected.
Gone for fucking ever.
Never say never. Never say ever.
I might like you better if we slept together.
But there's something in your eyes that says maybe.
That's never.
It's never.
Never say never.
Never.